What's up, guys? Welcome back from New York City. I promise it's a lot more glorious here than it may seem according to that picture. A little bit of a cloudy day, but honestly, I love when it's cool outside. As long as it's cool, I'm cool. But I'm axeltoss, joined by axslav, and we're watching WCS America Challenger League as we're seeing which player is going to get closer to getting a Premier League spot. Of course, how it works, again, a little bit of a recap is we have a bracket stage here, and the winner of each bracket, there's 8 brackets in total, the winner gets a spot in the Premier League of Season 2. That being said, let's take a look at the updated bracket after, of course, the match that just happened. Major taking out his opponent, Ian. He's going to be advancing on to play Violet. Again, you can see top Apocalypse, Major, Violet, Scarlet, Jim, Sen, and the winner of State Theognis. They're all going to play later this week, Wednesday and Thursday, and the winner of those matches will be in the Premier League of Season 2. Of course, looking at the other half of the bracket, again, it's going to be very similar as it was in the beginning of the show. Kapachin, ST, Suppy, Tasia, the STC. Neeb, Puck is going to be up next. XY to Muslim is going to be the last match of the night. So again, trying to get into Premier League, all these guys are. But again, I just said it, the next match is going to be Neeb versus Puck. And this is actually a fairly interesting match.
A very exciting match. In fact, this spot in the bracket, a lot of people thought there'd be an Idra-Huck match. Of course, Idra gave up his spot, and then Huck lost to Neeb in round 1. So
yes.
A very interesting turn of events here. I think that was not predicted by very many people. Neeb, an up-and-coming player, took out Huck 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, I mean, Huck is the guy who's won MLGs before, right? He's played in the GSL. He's won so many events. One of the most decorated players. Neeb taking him out 2-0. Very, very, very convincing TVP play up against Puck, who knocked out Hyun from the Challenger qualifiers.
Exactly. Both these players are
insane.
They're North American players, up and coming, fairly young in age, but they have very bright futures ahead of them. Again, trying to make their way into WCS America Premier League of Season 2, and I think for both of these two individuals, it's definitely going to be doable. Of course, Neeb is only 15 years old, which is like actually insane. But I'm super excited for this map. Puck versus Neeb. Either one can take it. Of course, the winner will be advancing on further to try to get into Premier League. I'm going to ask the players if they are ready, but we got a PVT on our hands.
We've already seen Neeb's TVP, and it looked very excellent against Huck.
Yeah.
Puck, the matchup most of us saw was that match where he took out Hyun in the Challenger qualifiers.
Yes.
And that was a PVZ. So I don't know too much about Puck's PVT. I'll have to wait in and see how he plays against Neeb. Can he do better than Huck did?
Yeah.
I mean, if he can't, he's going to lose. So that's really what it comes down to.
Puck is a player that has one of the craziest play styles. Like, you'll never know, like, it's going to be a War Prism, Colossus drop, something like that. You never know what Puck's going to throw at you. So, should be a very exciting match coming our way. And I'm going to be interested to see if Neeb is prepared for, of course, what Puck ends up throwing at him. So here we are in game number 1 on Belshire Vestige in the bottom right-hand location. I present your blue Terran player, who's only 15 years old, representing Team FXONA and hailing from the United States of America. He actually lives in New York. He is Neeb.
Strongman symbol by the command center.
Nice. With the whip, I think.
Yes.
His opponent in the top left-hand location, the red Protoss player on Root Gaming, also hails from the United States. It's Puck.
Classic Mothership core icon surrounding that Nexus. Or Mothership icon, excuse me. The full Mothership. Let's see if one of those enters the battlefield. I don't really see it happening.
PVZ sometimes, I think?
Yeah, PVZ against Locust is very useful because typically the Zerg won't really send an Overseer with the Locust Swarm, so keeps your army safe from that. But that's only a super late-game situation against a player going Mass Stormos. Against Terran, I actually haven't seen it yet in Heart of the Storm, so I really use that Mothership. Mothership core, extremely useful. Pain for the Mothership itself, that's a little bit more of a debate.
Indeed, indeed. So, PVT, Belshire Vestige. This is kind of a matchup characterized, like in the beginning of Heart of the Storm, it was like, all right, what is the Terran player going to do to try to disrupt a greedy Protoss player? But, like with Widowmine drops, Helmet drops, stuff like that, but Protoss players have gotten better and better at being able to handle that type of aggression, utilizing the Mothership core, utilizing as few units as possible, being on top of their scouting. So, we're seeing a lot of different play styles from different players, and Neeb, actually, I had a chance to talk to Puck a little bit. And, Puck said that, he wasn't necessarily worried about this match. very confident and said that Neeb was a cheesy player. So maybe Puck is going to play extra safe here against his opponent.
Neeb opening with a relatively fast Reaper. Of course, the main purpose of the Reaper is to scout your opponent. And also, if the Protoss happens to go Nexus first, you usually just win. But that's why you almost never see Nexus first anymore in PvT. Reaper, very, very, very useful in this matchup just for continual scouting throughout the game. Makes it much easier for the Terran player to know exactly how many bunkers they need and how fast they should progress up that tech tree.
Reapers can be very annoying in the early game. Now, Belshir Vestige, it's a little bit manageable because there's literally only about two entrances into the natural expansion. Or into the main base, excuse me, from the natural expansion. It's not like you can jump into the main base directly from the low ground. The cliff is a little bit too big. So it's relatively manageable dealing with this. Neeb needs to keep that guy alive, though, just to continue with the scouting as the game goes forward.
Very interesting play by Neeb there, getting to bunker before the command center. So delaying his expansion to get that bunker up extra fast. And that kind of shows, you know, of course, he didn't scout very early in the game. So maybe he was worried about a proxy gateway type play, or...
Some Protoss players like opening with like a Zealot Stalker out of the gateway, chrono boosting all the units.
Yeah.
To try to slide on the expansion, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, just being extra safe there without scouting, which is kind of cool. And now he's going ahead and getting the engineering bay really fast, which is kind of awesome because it allows for multiple things. One, of course, if you think your opponent might be getting Oracle, you just throw it on a missile turret. But then, even if they're not getting Oracle, as long as you know they're not rushing, which the Reaper can confirm here, it's going to see the the Protoss Nexus and knows on a super fast rush.
Immediately starts +1.
Exactly, and there's no reason not to get the upgrade super fast, as long as you're not being forward-gated or something. Even if you are, you just build a bunch of extra bunkers, and you're still kind of fun anyway. So, I mean, really, really cool build. There was some other Terran we saw doing this. There's the super fast +1 weapons.
Yeah, I think it actually might become relatively standard now. Like a lot, players are doing it, and players are realizing how good it is and how safe it could potentially be. And we're actually seeing it a lot. Reaper darting into the main base here of Puck, and that Reaper's dead, I think.
Yeah, he's gonna sacrifice himself for a scout, but he's not able to see too much.
Let's watch him topple over the cliff.
Oh, is he actually gonna? Well, is he gonna try to fake him out? Oh, wait! Puck moved back for a second, and he's still gonna get it.
Oh, over the cliff.
Yeah, not
Gonna
unfortunately.
be buried by sand over time.
Yeah. That's where it would be awesome if he had like one life. He like resurrected himself and just kind of was stuck on the beach and built a little fort there and hanged out.
Maybe he survived.
Yeah.
And he's down there forever. He's like shouting to let him back up, but he's right outside the Protoss base. So if you shout too loud, the Protoss will hear you.
It's the Bear Grylls Reaper.
Yes.
He's out there with a knife and a water bottle, living on the desert sands.
Bear Grylls drinks water?
Sometimes. Rarely. Rarely. He has a water bottle to store whatever liquid he needs to drink.
Thank you for clarifying. All right, so.
Puck is just playing a very standard game with the robotics, three warp gates, and then the forge. So not a super early forge, really wanting to make sure he gets observers out, and he has the ability to warp in multiple units in case Puck was doing some very aggressive drop-type plays in opener. So a kind of a conservative Protoss opening, like a very staple Protoss opening, and that shows his confidence in the matchup. Like you said before, he thinks Neeb maybe just kind of a early player based on early aggression moves, a little bit cheesy, and he says, okay, if I can just scout him out and play super safe, the game goes longer, I have better mechanics, I'll win. But Neeb is actually showing insane game sense. Catching that first observer is very, very important to the Protoss player because Puck is still in the dark about how Neeb is playing his mid game.
Yeah, keeping those observers alive is very important, but Neeb has been like a ninja spotting those observers so far. Scanned one in the middle of the map, took him out. But one more observer going to be advancing toward his opponent's side of the map. And now we're going to see Neeb kind of posture across here. Now, some Terran players will try to force a photon overcharge, maybe try to go for a drop in the main. But Puck, with a lot of units back home, 4 sentries with a lot of energy, 2 Stalkers and 2 Zealots. I don't see much breaking Puck right now.
No, Puck's definitely playing very defensively minded.
And Immortal, too.
And that's actually going to put Neeb slightly ahead as far as the way they're playing the builds. If you notice, Neeb has been teching. He's been getting upgrades very fast. He went to a starport off of only 2 barracks. So he's very, very tech-heavy. Whereas Puck, his forge is at a decent timing. But he hasn't really focused too much. He hasn't gone double forge yet. There's no Twilight Council up yet, so he can't immediately start +2 armor. The Colossi production is coming, but with how fast Neeb got the starport, he can have Medivacs and Vikings out in time.
going to be advancing across the map with Marines and Marauders. 2 medevacs there as well. There's the Photon overcharge onto the Nexus. Remember, a lot of sentries here with a lot of force fields, so Neeb has to be fairly careful here. And again, I think Puck has too many units here for Neeb to do any damage, but Neeb just keeping his opponent honest while taking a third behind him.
And this is huge. I mean, Neeb is getting the second eBay to Armory. Every second that goes by, as long as Neeb keeps on top of his macro, keeps his starport production going, which is the most important against opponent going Colossi. If a Terran player can get 4 to 6 medevacs out and then still have enough Vikings to deal with the Colossi, that's a very, very nice position to be in. And now he sees the Colossus, so he can start getting those Vikings immediately.
Nice play here from Neeb so far, playing very reactive-minded. Also has a medevac chilling there. That Observer came very dangerously close to seeing it, but not going to see it after all. The medevac jetting toward the main base, igniting those afterburners. Probably going to be vulnerable, but there is a cannon there. Very safe play here from Puck. Also warping in 3 Zealots, and the medevac will have to get away. But Neeb also attacking into his opponent's third. Puck needs to pull his army back to third. You don't want to have to cancel that.
Oh, he doesn't know that Neeb's army is over. That third Nexus is going to fall. Going for the pylon first. That actually may make it a little bit closer.
No, it's going to be canceled. Well, if he can get all these units, I don't think he will. Picking him up, he's out of there. Oh, that's, you never want to have to cancel that Nexus. Puck had his army a little bit out of position, and he paid for it.
The one thing Puck's trying to do is he's trying to trick his opponent into getting too many Vikings. He only got a single Colossus and is switching over to High Templar. If Neeb doesn't identify this and he doesn't add in Ghost in time, if he does something like makes 8 Vikings, he could be in trouble against the Side Storms that Puck will have in the next couple minutes.
And you know, that goes back to, remember when he saw the Colossus, maybe Puck positioned his Colossus so that was on purpose. He wanted Neeb to see his Colossus so that he would potentially overreact with the Viking production. So far, Neeb is up to 2 Vikings, adding on 2 more, so still safe in that regard. But again, needs to be able to recognize the High Templar play so we can go into that Ghost Academy production, go into the Ghost production so we can actually deal with the High Templars, unless he has crazy unit micro and splits all his stuff up.
He's even adding in a second starport, so he's really convinced that Colossi are the tech of choice for Puck. Big Doom drop coming into the main, but Puck's Observer spots it.
Oh, this could be dangerous. The 4 medevacs coming in here, but not many units here to defend just yet. Warp Gate's trying to get finished up. Puck not necessarily prepared for this, just now warping in units. Medevac and Marines and Marauders doing so much damage here. Photon overcharge going down onto the Nexus. Neeb gonna pick up and back out, but that was pretty worth it.
You got a couple pylons there. I still don't think he's quite seen the Templars, though. Yeah, the Templar were in the back of Puck's army. You didn't see that. The Templar Archives is in the very back of Puck's main base. The longer this goes by, I mean, as the Templar get more and more energy, as more Templar enter the field, Storm could be an extremely important factor in the upcoming battles.
Yeah, of course, you know, can Puck really justify going across the map, though, with so many units active across the map and Belshir Vestige, a very large rush distance as well. So it's like, you know, sure, Puck is going to have Storm, but how, you know, how necessarily can he take advantage of that? I feel like that's a good question.
Neeb is just massing up units. He's getting 2-2 upgrades now and air weapons, so he may try to go for a timing. Oh, the scan! He scans the army. He sees the Templar are there. Now he's got to rethink his plan. It looked like he was planning to do an SCV pool type attack right before Templar came out, but now he sees they're already out. He's deciding not to pull SCVs. He's still going to try to put on pressure, but the goal here is just going to be to try to keep Puck on a defensive until the Ghost can actually come out.
And the good news for Puck here is the third is going to be safe. Like, again, he has those High Templars on the field, so not going to be threatened by big bio armies, by a lot of Vikings in the air. Neeb coming forward, though. Looks like he wants to be a little bit aggressive. Puck to be backing up, but again, no EMPs here, and a Storm going down, a massive Storm, melting a lot of that bio away. Neeb trying to kite as effectively as possible. The Colossus is going to go down, but the important units here are those High Templars and how effective they can be against the bio.
Neeb doing a very good job of taking out every single Colossi before they actually can do any damage. So now he just has to... Oh, massive.
No, the force fields. There's the Storm onto the bio. What a brilliant play there from Puck, and gonna back away. Neeb caught off guard there.
Neeb's medevacs are working overtime here, trying to keep his army healthy. He's rallying in more and more units. He's still in a pretty decent position, but Puck, with some amazing storms, is only 10 feet behind.
That's what Puck's known for, really. Just getting those awesome micro engagements, you know, perfectly placing this force fought up Storm. Uh-oh. Neeb feeling bold here. That's a lot of SCVs, Nick.
This is. I think he feels, okay, I've re-healed my army from the storms. He may be out of storms. He may not be.
Oh, more great force fields and Storm usage here from Puck. Another Storm going down, melting away a lot of bio. The SCVs trying to get up close and personal. Are there any Storms remaining, though? It doesn't look like it. Puck is going to have to rely on exclusively ground units at this point. Zealots, Sentries, Archons, Immortals, which are great, but doesn't have that AoE of High Templars at its disposal, but it might not even matter. Puck might just have too much.
The armies almost all Marauders. The Marines were melted by the storms, and against that many Zealots, the Marauders are going to have to pull back, wait for more medevacs, wait for some Ghosts. A very curious decision of Neeb to pull those SCVs when his opponent did have Psystorm, and there was nothing to combat it.
So typically, when the SCVs are pulled, generally when you think you have a ridiculous Viking to Colossus advantage, hold on, we're going to have a major engager here in the middle of the map. The Zealots can be pursuing these Marines and Marauders across the map, but there's not much room to work with here for Neeb, but he's going to try to kite back as much as possible. The medevac's getting taken out by the Archons there. Puck taking control of this game, but you know, back to the point of what I was talking about before, generally when you pull the SCVs, you're trying to exploit the timing when Storm isn't done yet, and you have a lot of Vikings to take out of the Colossus. Once you take out the Colossus, there's pretty much no AoE on the ground, so those SCVs are going to be remarkably helpful tanking damage and really letting your bio army do the work. But when storms are in effect, it's a situation where the SCVs are just going to melt if they're hit by a storm. So, again, as you said, a very intriguing decision there by Neeb to pull those SCVs.
And that SCV pull cost him a good bit of money, which is going to be very difficult as Puck is now re-adding Colossi into his composition. There's not that many Vikings from Neeb. He still hasn't built a single Ghost yet. He's had that Ghost catching him up for a while, but he's tried to combat storms with just pure bio, and the last couple of engagements have really proven that, you know, it hasn't been working out too well for him.
All right, a pylon getting taken out there, but Puck again adding those Colossus back into his composition. Only 2 Vikings on the field here for Neeb, and again, he's trying to produce Vikings and Ghosts, but considering he threw away all those SCVs, it's going to be fairly difficult. But Puck coming forward has a lot of High Templar with Storm available. He wants to win this game right here, right now, kiting away, or at least attempting to, as Neeb. Some force fields going down, not doing too much there from Puck, but so many units in this composition. Another Storm going down onto the bio, and Neeb again just relying on trying to kite as much as possible, stay away from this army, but how is he going to defend this natural expansion?
He's going to try to hit the Colossi from the back. The Colossi don't have the range upgrade, so they can't quite zone out the units that well, but the storms are damaging that army so much, and now the natural is being ravaged.
Oh, more and more Zealot Colossus coming in there to help reinforce, and Neeb running out of room here, running out of time in this game. He's down 181 to 121 in the supply. Puck with a massive army, and his opponent's natural expansion, and everything at that natural is completely forfeit as Neeb is trying to figure out a way to deal with this composition and come back in this game.
His army just has to run away. All the medevacs, 0 energy. Units are still damaged. The SCVs are coming out, but there's so much Protoss here.
Oh, and there's another storm. What a way to make a statement to end this game. Throwing down the force fields, the perfect storm, a story throughout this game. That phenomenal control there from Puck to take game 1 over Neeb. And Puck making all the right decisions. And again, it came down to that decision to show the Colossus getting those High Templars out, which puts the Terran player in a very awkward situation as far as, okay, my opponent has High Templars on the field. Storm is done. I don't have a Ghost Academy yet. You know, perhaps he didn't think his opponent revealed Storm earlier too. So it's like, I don't know. It's just a bizarre decision there to pull those SCVs.
It was, yeah. It could have been a hint of desperation and not being confident in playing the late game micro wars of Ghost versus Templar, because he really wanted to end it right at this moment. But there's just too many storms, and look at that. All the units are trapped. Neeb had a little bit of an advantage coming into that battle, but he was trading so poorly that the advantage was disintegrating. Yeah,
Puck showing off his amazing micro ability with High Templars, with those sentries and force fields. Again, it might look easy there, but trust me, it's not easy at all. Puck taking down game 1 over Neeb, which means he is 1 win away from advancing on to the next round of the Challenger League bracket stage. Guys, stay tuned. Peak versus Neeb, game 2, Puck versus Neeb, coming up.